Is it finally time to say that Kansas basketball is fraudulent and somebody else is going to win the Big 12? This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I think the answer is no, but bear with me. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from ESPN Central Texas. Thank you for making Locked On Big 12 your first listen every single day. I'm coming to you live from a hotel room again because that's just effectively where I live at this point. Today's a shorter episode because there was one basketball game last night. We'll do a complete rundown of tonight's games tomorrow. Now, look, can we all come together? Kansas fans, plug your ears. Obviously, Kansas is not the team that everybody loves to see win in the Big 12. If you're an objective Big 12 fan, you're a West Virginia fan, you're a Kansas State fan, obviously. You're a Baylor fan, you're a UCF fan. You don't like seeing Kansas win. Nobody wants the big dog to be fed, and I get that. I understand that. I'm not a robot. I don't have to sit here and tell you that, oh, I'm so happy that Kansas wins games. I don't have to be either. I'm a human being. But at the same time, I have to appreciate when a team is really good. Now, Kansas, the reason we're having a conversation about whether or not they're fraudulent is because Kansas, despite being really good, and in my opinion, they are still really good, they have a lot to figure out. And they are not in a place right now where they're in a comfortable position to win the Big 12. Johnny Furphy was great yesterday. He proved what a lot of people keep asking of, who can be another guy that steps up and is really good for this team? And he's a young player who steps up huge. You might not even know that name if you're not following a lot of Big 12 basketball. And he had over 20 points, was the leading scorer for Kansas to beat Cincinnati. But they were tied at halftime. This is the same team that lost to West Virginia on the road. That's not good. Being tied with Cincinnati is not good. Beating them, not covering at home in Fog Allen is not good. Now, I don't think Cincinnati's a bad team, but this is Kansas we're talking about, who's supposed to be the Big 12's national championship contender. And I know what you're thinking. Is this whole thing going to be about Kansas? I'll probably get to your team in a second about teams that can beat Kansas. I think Cincinnati, I'm going to give Kansas a break here. I'm going to give them some positive feedback. I think Cincinnati is that team that sneaks in as an 11 seed, maybe a 12 seed. It'd be wild to put a Power 5 team, a Power 6, whatever they call it now, team in the 12 spot. But Cincinnati's that team makes a dangerous run in the NCAA tournament because they are good at basketball. Wes Miller's team is solid. Are they solid enough that they should, pull Kansas within 5-6 points on the road? No, I mean, you're Kansas. You should be blowing this game out. Cincinnati shot 17% from three, and Kansas still could barely close them out on the end. Johnny Furphy was the guy to do it. What this is Kansas has the best starting five in the Power 5, Power 6, whatever it is. The best starting five in the Big 12. And I think that's what keeps Kansas from being fraudulent, but will hurt Kansas in terms of whether or not they will win the Big 12. I would not be shocked if Iowa State wins this conference. And that might be a statement that shocks you, but I would not be shocked if Iowa State wins this conference. To me, where the Big 12 sits right now, favoring defense, I favor defense in this league. I would not be shocked if Houston won this conference. I haven't even mentioned the two teams that lead the conference right now, Kansas State and Texas Tech. I would still be shocked if Texas Tech won the league. I don't think they'll finish number one in the Big 12. That's not to say Texas Tech isn't a tournament team, a top 5-6 seed in the tournament. I do believe that is true, but they won't win the Big 12. I think that Kansas State probably has another jump to make to win the Big 12. In my opinion, you got a Kansas team sitting right there that's really good. You have a Houston team that has proven in flashes that it can be the most elite team in the conference. I can't say that they are, but they've proven it in flashes. You have an Iowa State team who's number one in the nation in shot quality defensively, a BYU team who might be the best offensive team in the country if you just watch them play, and then a Baylor who's sneaky and young and pretty deep, and the pieces fall where they are there, from Kansas State to Texas Tech, even Cincinnati, who's dangerous, UCF, who knows what they're going to do if they can make a tournament run or run at making the tournament. For Kansas, though, the reason that I think they're elite and not fraudulent is that starting five is so good that they might win a national championship based off of it. Yeah, I'm going to say something that might sound ignorant to a lot of basketball diehards. For myself, basketball being my first sport, what I played until Coach told me I wasn't good enough to play it anymore. Watching Baylor, when I went to Baylor in a national championship, it was just my love has been basketball. And I've started to notice the best starting fives are the teams that are winning late, or the teams that are winning in March. And that sounds obvious when I say that, right? The team with the best starting five has the best chance to win March Madness. And you go, Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But then, if that is true, then depth doesn't mean as much as we give it credit for. And then you go, wait a second, that's not true. But yeah, for those two things to work, for the team with the best starting five to have the leg up, then depth. If you can't say like, oh, the team with the most depth, they're the one who's going to win it. Well, what about the team with the best starting five but doesn't have as much depth? I thought they were going to win it. You see what I'm saying here? There's a bit of a misnomer that we create around March about what's going to win. And to me, the winning formula is having the better starting five. Because look, you go to a Baylor as an example, and I used this, I think, on yesterday's show, is Baylor's got 9 guys that can contribute. You can't put 9 guys on the floor. And we get to a point here where everyone makes this case of, by March, everybody's worn down and these teams are, depth it's when depth becomes so key. And yeah, you probably need the 6th guy coming off the bench to give you a spark. But when these starting fives are conditioned well, when they get bounced at the right time in their conference tournament, those are the teams that are dominating in March. It doesn't become a fluky, oh, wow, how did this squad get here? Oh, it's because they go 9 guys deep and, the 9th guy on the bench is so good. No, you can't have 9 guys out there at the same time. We are seeing teams win year in and year out that have elite starting fives, maybe one guy off the bench who creates a spark for them as the 6th man. Kansas has that. Now, in my opinion, that we're in the Big 12, where it's not a tournament format, or the regular season is not like that, that's where depth comes into play because you're getting beaten around constantly. That's where depth can become more of a key. But in a one game, in a win-or-go-home format in March Madness, I still think that Kansas is built to win a national championship more so than any other Big 12 team. And look, once again, it's the human element of me. Like, I don't hate Kansas. I didn't go to Kansas. I don't get paid to only blow hot air up Kansas' skirt. And I know you probably don't like hearing about how good Kansas is. But until somebody else consistently dominates the Big 12, it still has to be Kansas League. And by the way, I didn't have this conversation really about Texas in football because they left. With Kansas, they're in the Big 12. And from my perspective, from my seat, the human aspect is I don't like dynasties. Nobody really revels in dynasties. You like to see parity. You like to see the underdog win. But also from my seat, I enjoy the fact that Kansas could win a national championship because I would like to see the Big 12 bring it home. Tonight's games, by the way, freaking Super Tuesday. Big Monday's a thing, but it was pretty small for the Big 12. Super Tuesday, Texas at Oklahoma. Oklahoma only favored by 4.5. Give me the Sooners all day long. I don't understand why this spread is where it is. Oklahoma's a lock tonight. I mean, like a level 1 million lock. I'm that confident. UCF hosting West Virginia, only a 7.5 point favorite. This is actually a really fun game. And if UCF wins, I still think they've got a shot to backdoor their way into the NCAA tournament. If you lose, I don't know if West Virginia is going to be able to do that toward the end of the year. How long can they keep? And who else comes back or comes in? I don't know. But this is a game where the loser is eliminated from March. And I know it's really early to say that. It's January 24th, or 23rd, but I believe that is going to be the case. Houston at BYU is awesome. Houston favored by 3. Offense versus defense, fire versus water. I don't know. Okay. It's a cop-out, I guess. I just don't know who's going to win this game. TCU at Oklahoma State. Frogs only favored by 4.5. They are going to win, but they won't cover 4.5. They win by like 1 or 2. Another crushing loss for Mike Boynton and company, who I love so dearly. I actually do. I actually am a big Mike Boynton guy, and I hate that it hasn't worked out to this point. Today's show is brought to you by... Well, I'll tell you that coming up next. This is Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is your number one place to go for sports betting. When I get bored or when I need money, I go to FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapped up and we are in the playoffs. And right now, FanDuel is giving you all kinds of sponsorships. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's right, $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like same-game parlays, live parlays. Find best bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays and more. I am going to bet on, I think I'm going to have to do it. I might have to bet on the 49ers and the Ravens. It sucks. I don't want to be that guy, but I think those are the teams. The NFL's rigged it for them to win. We always talk about this time of year, the NFL's rigged. It is. Big 12 basketball's not. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make your first bet a layup. FanDuel.com. Official sports partner of the NFL. All right. Basketball. I can't wait to get back to a full show tomorrow. We have a special guest coming on too. Coleman Crawley, you ever heard of him? Barstool Sports? Yeah. I'm ready to not live in a hotel anymore. I'm supposed to move in my house today. We'll see if it works. I'm excited. At the end of this week, I think I can finally tell you what my new job is. Jeez. Can't wait. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.